All right, we are moving on in our unit to lesson number 4. Today's topic is the unit circle, and like always, today's date is today. Our objective is to work with angles in standard position and to find the coordinates of points on the unit circle. Well, right about now, you're kind of asking yourselves probably, what is a unit circle? Well, a unit circle is exactly what it sounds, a circle, and it's a unit circle because the radius is always going to be 1 unit. And what happens is different angles, and I'm only showing one angle here, you're going to have different angles along here, 30 degrees, 45, 60, and we're going to find the coordinates of those points on the outside of the circle. And the reason that we do that is when we start graphing, those coordinates are going to come into play. So if I looked at this first one, what I know is I've got a radius of 1. And actually, my radius here that I'm going to be using is right here. And I'm going to form a triangle. So I'm going to bring that down. And just to make that a little bit easier, I'm going to draw it on the outside here so that we can see it a little bit better. I know when I brought that line down, I formed a 90-degree angle. And that is a 30-degree angle right there. And my radius is 1. So what I know is my hypotenuse. I can find my short side, which would be half of that. And then my long side, which is going to be the short side times radical 3, so radical 3 over 2. Again, I just took 1/2 times radical 3 to get that. So if I drew those in, radical 3 over 2 and 1/2, it's kind of hard to see. So that means I'm going right, radical 3 over 2, up 1/2. That gives me an ordered pair. My ordered pair now is radical 3 over 2, 1/2. So we found our first point on the unit circle. Let's find a few more points. Let's find a 45-degree angle. Again, I'm going to draw a line straight down. And hopefully you can imagine that that's a straight line. And we're going to form a 90-degree angle. Let's go ahead and draw that off to the side so that it's a little bit easier to work with. And we know that that is a 90-degree angle, and that's a 45-degree angle. My hypotenuse is 1. Because this is a unit circle, it's 1 unit. Well, I need to figure out what my legs are. Well, I know my leg times radical 2 is supposed to give me 1, so 1 over radical 2. We're going to go ahead and rationalize that, because we don't like radicals in the denominator. And we get radical 2 over 2. So that means I'm going right, radical 2 over 2, which would give me my x coordinate. And I'm going up, radical 2 over 2, which is going to give me my y coordinate. Hey, we found another point on the graph. All right, let's do another one. This one's a little bit trickier. We're finding this point right here. Let's make that in red. So when we form our triangle, and this is the important one, we always want to form it with the x-axis. I'm not writing that down, but you might want to make a note of this. Always form your angle with the x-axis. So I'm bringing down my line, and it's a right triangle. Draw that in. So I need to figure out what that measurement is for that angle. Well, they told me that my angle right here is 120 degrees. I know a straight line has 180 degrees, So this degree right here has to be 60. So let's go ahead and work it off to the side a little bit over here. My hypotenuse is 1, because that's the radius of the circle. So that means, right here's 990. This would be my short side right here, which is going to be 1/2. And my long side is going to be radical 3 over 2. So we want to be very careful on this one when we get this ordered pair, because if I'm going, right here's my origin, if I were to take that triangle and transpose it right here, so I'm going to the left, so that has to be a negative 1/2, and I'm going up, so that's still going to be a positive radical 3 over 2. If you have a hard time remembering that, remember ordered pairs. Think of them as quadrants. They're always going to be positive, positive here, negative, positive in your second quadrant, negative, negative in your third quadrant, and positive, negative in your fourth quadrant. Let's do another one. All right, on this one, they're giving me negative 120 degrees. Well, I'm going to go ahead and form an angle, and I want to form that angle with my x-axis. So let's go ahead and draw it a little bit bigger so it's easier to work with. There's my right angle. And I know it's coming around negative 120 degrees. Again, think back to geometry. If I'm starting right here and going all the way around, that would be a negative 180 degrees. So this has to be a 60-degree angle. My radius, or my hypotenuse here, is 1. We'll go ahead and figure out our short side first, which is going to be 1/2. Our long side is radical 3 over 2. And as you're doing this, you're going to find out a lot of the same numbers happen over and over again. So that ordered pair, and be careful of your sign, because I'm going left 1/2 unit, and I'm going down radical 3 over 2. All right, one last one that we're going to do. Got a negative 45-degree triangle. Form a triangle with the x-axis. Well, our radius here is going to be 1. So if you took 1 divided by radical 2, rationalize it, and we've done this one before. Get radical 2 over 2. That's what each leg is. Okay, so we're looking for this point on the origin. Well, our x direction is positive, so that's going to be a positive radical 2 over 2. Our y coordinate is going to be negative because we're going down. We're in the third quadrant. I'm sorry, we're in the fourth quadrant. So there is the point on the unit circle. If you were to graph that entire unit circle, or find the points of every coordinate of all the major angles, this is what it would look like. I hope you enjoyed the unit circle. Be prepared for some graphing after this.